salvó nada de ir a su casa?
I just came with my mom, and she told me go ask if they need anybody to, any help. I'm glad I can help them out.
Help that most waited hours to receive, but Red Cross aid is survival money for these people. It will allow them to take care of their children and restore some dignity to their lives.
I'm scared just like everyone else. I keep thinking about the next earthquake. I just want it all to be over with.
Everyone wanted it all to be over with, but for many it seemed to continue. Long after the shaking had stopped, the frustration and anger was still growing.
Can you guarantee that? No, you can't.
No one can guarantee they won't be hurt if they cross the bridge onto Moss Landing Island. The county's closed it. The bridge shifted, cracking the sewage pipes that are on one side and the water pipes running along the other side. Only a few people enter for short periods of time. We took pictures of how bad it is so people will understand and stay out. And it's bad. A crack runs through the middle of the now rippled, craggy road.
So this is the worst part, starting here.
From here, yes.
And the water started to fill in all around here?
All the way around.
Ocean water?
Ocean water.
Water came up here, water came up there.
Just all over the place.
Just gushing through?
Gushing through, that's it.
Inspectors at the scene decided the Sea Products building is uninhabitable. Jim Mason knew about the $1 million worth of frozen fish inside. What happens to the fish, frozen produce that's in here?
We're going to try to get out as soon as we can.
Okay.
We want to get out so they don't lose the money on it.
So far, does it look like it's actually going bad?
Well,
It's all frozen solid.
it's frozen solid. It's all right, but we get it out in time, we'll be all right.
Some of the beams don't meet at the roof. The pavement inside the building looks as if somebody took a giant hot knife and sliced through the walls and across the floor. Larry Dotson says the equipment's okay, but the building was rocking and rolling.
The ground just started coming apart, and when it stopped shaking, the water was actually squirting up between the cracks in the ground. You just stand, you don't know which way to run. You look up, and all the high line wires are doing this stuff.
And your thoughts?
Get off the island. It's going down. It sunk about a foot, it looks like.
Outside, and about 100 yards away, a large wooden crate of gutted fish, now days old, and smelling so badly, the gulls look but don't eat. A crowd of people still want to get inside to see if things are okay and retrieve what they can. Teresa Ward went through some tense moments.
I couldn't find my boyfriend Jim, and so I started running around the yard, and water was coming up through the ground, and I ran out on the road, and we saw each other, and as we started walking towards each other, the road separated about a foot, and I jumped over that and started going, and it kept separating, and all the buildings were cracking. It was pretty scary.
The fear was natural. Experts say a disaster is much like a war. And as in a war, post-traumatic stress is not only normal, but a healthy response to a terrible situation.
There's a delayed effect where people are falling apart and they don't understand why. And what has happened is that they've spent their resources, and a lot of people haven't taken care of themselves. They haven't done the self-nurturance.
Everyone who rode out the quake suffered some stress.
The irritability has been building up. And it just seems like the small molehills and the things that you deal with on a daily basis, and I always have dealt with on a daily basis, have now magnified.
Carol sought help through a church counseling group, and Santa Cruz County has established Project Cope for anyone feeling anxiety. Therapists warn stress isn't reserved for adults. In fact, the quake may have been hardest on young children who never before knew that the earth could move.
Do you like to be by yourself?
No, I like to be with you guys instead of the big giant one.
Yeah, what would you do?
I don't know.
Would you run into Mommy and Daddy where we were?
No.
No?
No.
Do you stay by yourself?
Kids will be becoming very clinging and dependent on the parents, and a lot of times they don't want them to leave their presence. They're needing an assurance, a constant reassurance that things are okay. They will often repeat the same question 15 or 20 times, again, just trying to establish with mom or dad that things are going to be fine.
Everything, that moves or any noise, she wants to know what's that, or, she's saying, when's the next earthquake going to be? Well, we talk about it a lot. She likes to talk about it, and we just tell her that, to get in the doorway or, try to let her know what to do, because she always says, well, what? If it happens, what are we going to do?
Without exception, that is a question we should all be asking ourselves. What are we going to do when the next one hits? Being prepared is one way to feel better about living on a fault line. And with that in mind, we offer some important tips for earthquake survival.
Being prepared is fairly easy. The experts say you may have to live on your own for up to 3 days, so keep enough food and water on hand for at least 72 hours. You'll need a battery-operated radio or television to know what's happening, and always have a supply of fresh batteries on hand.
A first aid kit, flashlights, and blankets are also important, along with a small supply of cash. Banks and electronic teller machines may not work if the power is out. And no electricity means that gas stations won't pump. Try not to leave your gas tank less than half full.
Around the house, you should know where your electrical fuse box is and how to turn the power off. And the same goes for gas and water. The gas valve is especially important since leaking gas can cause a fire.
And take time to anchor furniture to the walls. Bookshelves and other tall things can topple over when the shaking begins. All of these are simple things to do now before they're needed, and they'll make so much difference later.
Already, quake-ravaged cities in our area are looking to the future and clearing away painful reminders of the terrible recent past. The Caminos Hotel in downtown Salinas has fallen, ending what had been a long debate. Should the aging building be demolished or preserved? Mother Nature made that decision.
In Santa Cruz, the people decided long ago to preserve the Cooper House, the old courthouse building on the mall. But now, it too is gone, along with its many shops and restaurants. But there is still hope for the future, and much of that lies in the way we all pulled together when the earth tried to pull us apart.
If ever there was a time our communities were tested, the last days of October were it. The temblor that would come to be known as the Loma Prieta earthquake unleashed an awesome force, destroying lives, tearing apart homes, and threatening us one and all.
But adversity seemed to bring us closer as well. Facing something so big made us care a little more, made us make the extra effort for those around us. Citizens ignored their own safety and searched through the rubble for others. Volunteers put aside their own concerns to help those more in need. And there were so many other generous gestures.
Like the mariachis who played for homeless families living in a Watsonville shelter. And the tons of clothing, so much donated, the relief groups had a hard time keeping up. And the Harbor High kids who gave up their homecoming plans and raised money for the relief effort instead.
One of those gestures was a benefit concert in Santa Cruz by rock legends Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Look around me, I can see my life before me, running rings around the way it used to be.
In the end, the Loma Prieta earthquake will become what we recall of it. Long after the homes are rebuilt and the bridges and highways repaired, the spirit of giving will remain as the symbol of the earthquake of '89.
Look around me, I can see my life before me, running rings around the way it used to be.
And it was the opinion of me and David and Stephen that we would love to come to Santa Cruz and help out in any way we could.
And there's so much time to make up everywhere you turn.
It's time that we come together and remember we're not only mourning a loss, but celebrating the fact that we're all alive, that we will rebuild, and that it's going to be okay again.
When you were young, did you question all the answers? Did you envy all the dancers who had all the nerve? Look around you now, you must go for what
We want people to realize that there are people outside of Santa Cruz that know and care very much what goes on here.
so much time to make up everywhere you turn.
It's wonderful to see so many people back on Pacific Avenue for a good time.
And when I was talking with the mayor the other day, she put it just right when she said that the spirit is in the people. It's not in the old buildings that you're losing, and it's not in whatever is going to replace those old buildings. The spirit is in the people, and we're trying to keep that spirit alive.
Let the water come and carry